Hi, I'm Charlie Starr. The video you are about to watch is part of my free course, How to Read a Birth Chart. Signing up is easy. Simply subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and shoot me an email to the address in the description box below, letting me know you want to be enrolled. I will reply with a welcome email, including the syllabus and other free course materials. Then head on over to my channel page and find the How to Read a Birth Chart free course playlist. Hit play and follow the step-by-step instructions to become a true birth chart master. And now, back to this video. Hey everyone, and welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about the sun sign in astrology and what the sun means in your birth chart. This is part of a series where we're going through what each of the planets mean in your birth chart. So if you want to know more about what the different planets in your birth chart mean, your moon sign, your Venus sign, your Mars sign, etc., don't forget to subscribe and hit yes to all notifications so that you can get notified when we go through each of the other planets. Keep watching. The next video after this will be the moon sign, but this video is about the sun sign, so let's get right into it. The sun in astrology represents such a significant part of you in your birth chart that it has become its own thing. Sun sign astrology is in itself a valid approach to astrology, although incomplete. When somebody asks you, what is your sign? Your answer to that is actually going to be your sun sign. Right off the bat, you can understand what a significant part of your sun sign is actually representing you. You say, I'm a Scorpio. What that actually means is that the sun was in Scorpio when you were born. That when you look at your birth chart, which has all of the planets on it, when you find that little glyph that represents the sun, that glyph is where the sun was when you were born. And if it was in the sign of Scorpio, then you are a Scorpio. What does that mean more specifically though? Especially when we combine it with all the other planets in your birth chart, it can get a little confusing if now we don't just have one sign for you, we have as many signs for you as planets. What then does your sun sign mean more specifically? The sun represents your conscious self. You do have a subconscious self. This is going to be your moon sign. And additionally, you have your lens and your perspective on life, your filter for the world. That's going to be your rising sign. But the sun sign is your conscious self. So this is the parts of you that you most heavily identify with. These are the things that you recognize in yourself as yours. They are also the things that other people recognize about you as belonging to you, the predominant parts of your personality traits. The ego is essentially, in psychological terms, the part of you that separates you from somebody else. This is something that we seek to defend because we want to have a specific, unique identity. This part of ourselves, the ego, belongs to the sun sign. Also, this part belongs to our heart center. So the sun sign also has to do with our core self. The sun is, of course, the center of our solar system. And so your sun in your own personal birth chart is essentially the center of your own personal internal solar system. The sun is a huge ball of fire that warms all of the life on Earth. So it's really important to pay attention to what your sun sign is and to make sure that you're doing things that nourish your sun sign. And how are you going to know what things nourish your sun sign? Well, look to the sign that the sun is in. So for example, if you are in Gemini, if your sun is in Gemini, look to Gemini sorts of things to get an idea of what are going to be the things that really feed your personal sun sign, the things that personally nourish and stoke the fire. It's important to keep our center essentially fed and happy and healthy, just like it's important to keep your physical heart healthy. Because the sun is your conscious self and the predominant parts of your identity, this is also the place that we project. So this is a part of ourselves that projects out into the world. There are other parts of ourselves that receive things. This would be more your moon sign and your rising sign qualities, and to some extent your Venus qualities. Your sun is the life giver of your entire chart. And so it also represents how you give to other people. For example, if your sun sign is Taurus, you may give Taurus things and give in a Taurus manner. If your sun sign is Leo, you may give Leo things and give in a Leo manner. So the sun sign also has to do with what and how we give to others and give to the world at large. Additionally, the sun is also a very visible part of yourself. How heavily you identify with your sun sign and how much people recognize you for your sun sign qualities can depend on factors in your chart, such as whether you were born during the day or whether you were born at night. If you were born at night, your sun sign is going to be less visible because your sun was below the horizon at the time that you were born. If you were born in the middle of the day, this is going to be a very exalted position for your sun, and your sun sign is most likely very noticeable to other people, and they're most likely going to guess your sun sign more accurately than if your sun was below the horizon when you were born. It also means that it's more likely that you are going to identify more heavily with your sun sign. When you have a sun below the horizon, this means that the markers of your ego, the markers of your identity, your soul fire, your soul source from which you give to other people is a little bit more subconscious, it's a little bit more hidden, and you might have to do a little bit more digging before you really can recognize yourself when you're learning about your sun sign. It can be a little bit challenging, and possibly more challenging than the other placements in your chart, because people, if they know your birthday or they know what sign you are, that is going to be the sign that people put the most significance on. Therefore, it's going to be the sign that people have the most negative stereotypes. It's potentially an area that can lead to prejudice or putting people in a box, and sometimes giving astrology a bad reputation with people that essentially pigeonhole other people based on stereotypes about somebody's zodiac sign. This can lead to a lot of people disliking their zodiac sign because people have used this against them. People have put out negative stereotypes about their sun sign, and it can lead to people being off-put from studying astrology further and benefiting from it as a tool of self-discovery. Honestly, this was me for many years of my life. Growing up, I definitely didn't resonate with my sun sign because of the negative things that people would say to me about my sun sign, or the things that people would say about me that didn't necessarily resonate. And even if they weren't particularly negative, I felt like I was being put in a box, and I didn't appreciate that at all. As I learned more about astrology and the complexities that the birth chart has, and I started to recognize myself in the birth chart, and I started to gain a lot of very, very helpful insights as well as validations about my experiences and my personality through astrology. I began to understand my sun sign from a deeper standpoint, and then I began to really resonate and get things out of knowing my sun sign and really leaning into it and really understanding how the sun sign was so integral to, and is so integral to, who I am, what my life calling is to give to other people, what feeds my soul and my spirit, what I am here to do and be, and how I interact with other people. There's so much that I have learned from my sun sign, because the signs, this is why I've spent so much time, if you're taking my course, going through the signs. I worry that it may be a little bit much for people to go through. It's kind of like I'm having you form complex understandings about each of the signs, because each of the signs are incredibly complex and incredibly multifaceted and have many ways that they express themselves. So understanding these signs on a deeper level not only makes you a better astrologer, not only makes you somebody who can understand yourself more deeply, but it also makes you a more compassionate and understanding person towards other people. Instead of saying like, oh, Aries are hot-headed, Cancers are emotional, Leos are self-centered, Scorpios are possessive. Like, instead of just memorizing a bunch of like negative, like one-sided stereotypes that, you know, don't really help anybody and don't really, in my opinion, honestly don't apply. Instead, having a deeper understanding of these signs facilitates you getting to know yourself on a deeper level, as well as understanding other people on a deeper level. So that's why it's so important to understanding the signs. And when it comes to what your sun represents in your chart, your sun really, like I said, represents a core significant part of who you are. And it really represents your ego and your consciousness. And getting to know this part of you is going to be so, so fundamental to understanding as a baseline, as a central point, the other signs in your birth chart. So that's one reason why I picked the sun to make the first video about. And the next video, we'll get into the moon and we'll be able to compare and contrast the sun sign with the moon sign. Stay tuned. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.